Hi all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. A 23-year-old nursing student from Houston, Texas was brutally unalived by her new roommate on April 26th of 2025 over an argument about his cat. Elizabeth Tamalor Odunzi moved to Houston from England to fulfill her dream of becoming a nurse, and she documented her journey on TikTok, where she accumulated over 30,000 followers who enjoyed her content and studying tips. As part of her journey, she was randomly matched with a roommate through a company that helped students find housing. And oddly enough, even though she was a young woman, she was matched with a 40-year-old man named Chester Lamar Grant, who had a history of DV cases. But because the company said he passed their background check, Elizabeth more than likely was not aware of his violent history. But it wouldn't be long before she'd find out. According to news reports, Elizabeth and Grant only lived together for 2 months. But during that 2-month period, police had been called to their home at least a couple times. But even though her home life was tumultuous, Elizabeth probably didn't realize how dangerous her living situation was getting. So she kept making TikTok videos about nursing school, including a video she posted on April 21st, talking about how ready she was to graduate in just 2 weeks and to go on vacation for the summer. But Elizabeth would never graduate from nursing school, and that TikTok post would be her last. Houston police said they were called to Elizabeth and Grant's apartment on the afternoon of April 26th for a welfare check. When they arrived on scene, nobody answered the door, so they went around to the back of the unit, where they say they found blood on the back patio. So they entered the apartment, where they found Elizabeth on the kitchen floor. She had been stabbed 28 times and was declared deceased at the scene. As police searched the rest of the apartment, they found Elizabeth's roommate Chester Grant in his bedroom, with a deep cut on his neck that police say was self-inflicted. He was rushed to the hospital for care and told police he and Elizabeth had been fighting over his cat. He was arrested and charged with her unaliving days later.
We begin tonight with new details in the tragic stabbing death of a Houston nursing student. Police say the 23-year-old British woman was killed by her roommate last weekend. It happened inside an apartment on Gopher Street. That's near Cullen and Yellowstone Boulevard on Houston's south side. Our Orko Manna joins us from the Harris County Jail tonight with the latest from investigators. Orko?
It's been 1 week since this deadly stabbing, and while Houston police are still investigating, homicide detectives tell me that this all stemmed from an argument between the suspect and the victim about their cats. I'm also told the British nursing student would have graduated this weekend. It's a quiet Saturday at this apartment on Goforth Street on Houston's south side. But just a week earlier, on the afternoon of April 26th, Houston police say it was a bloody murder scene. HPD finding a 23-year-old woman in one of the units lying on the kitchen floor with multiple stab wounds. Homicide detectives identifying her as Elizabeth Tamalor Odunzi. Police say she was from England but was in nursing school here in Houston, set to graduate this weekend. Detectives telling me Odunzi's roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, stabbed her to death after the two got into an argument a few days earlier about the cats that they both kept in the unit. The conflict reportedly snowballed and led to the violent encounter. I'm told the two were relatively new roommates for about 2 months. Detectives say Grant tried to take his own life, stabbing himself around 6 times, including in the side of the neck. After a few days in the hospital, Grant appeared in probable cause court Saturday morning, now charged with murder. Grant is being held here at the jail on a $500,000 bond. He's expected to be back in court on Monday. Meanwhile, Houston police are still looking for surveillance video and doing witness interviews as they continue their investigation. Reporting from downtown Houston, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
Now to shocking new details in the stabbing death of a British nursing student on Houston's South Side. Elizabeth O'Dunsey was killed just over a week ago.
And now that student's roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, is charged in her murder. He's being held on a $500,000 bond at the Harris County Jail.
Orko Manna joins us live from there. Orko, you've been covering this case for days, and you're now learning just how violent the stabbing was.
Yeah, Mia, we've learned that Grant is accused of stabbing O'Dunsey more than 24 times inside their apartment over an argument about his cat. Now, O'Dunsey's family is hoping to move her body back to the UK.
I'm about to graduate, and I really wish I had this during nursing school because it definitely would have helped.
23-year-old Elizabeth O'Dunsey often posted videos like this on her popular TikTok page, detailing her time in nursing school after moving to the US from the UK. This video of her dancing, mentioning being 2 weeks out from graduation, is the last post she made. It was uploaded just 5 days before O'Dunsey's life was cut short. Houston police say O'Dunsey was stabbed to death on April 26 inside her apartment on Goforth Street by her roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant. Homicide detectives tell me the killing stemmed from an argument about his cat from days earlier.
Mr. Grant,
now charged with murdering O'Dunsey, appearing in probable cause court this weekend.
the allegations in this case allege he stabbed his female roommate 28 times, killing her over some disagreement over his cat. So this is an allegedly extremely brutal murder with an extensive history of violence, which I find to be an extreme danger to the community.
A bandage seen on Grant's neck. Police tell me Grant tried taking his own life after killing O'Dunsey, stabbing himself at least 6 times, including in the neck. The judge also saying Grant has had multiple arrests and convictions for violence from out of state. O'Dunsey's loved ones creating this GoFundMe page saying, quote, she moved from the UK to the United States to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse, dedicating herself to a life of care and service, and that their, quote, goal is to bring Tammy home from the United States to the UK so she can be laid to rest surrounded by her family and loved ones. Yeah, just heartbreaking for that family. Grant was scheduled to be in court today, but he did not appear because he's still waiting for a court-appointed attorney. Reporting live from the Harris County Jail this afternoon, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
Police are saying she was stabbed dozens of times, and her family says she was just days away from graduating.
So sad. Chester Grant is accused of killing Elizabeth O'Dunsey at an apartment complex on Goforth Street near Cullen Boulevard. Residents who live there say they were roommates but did not know each other before they moved in.
ABC 13's Micah Hatfield is reporting live downtown. And Micah, what are investigators revealing to you about this case?
Well, first of all, Chester Grant is still in custody tonight. These two lived in an apartment building that was off-site student housing. They paired roommates randomly, we're told by people who live in the building. So they ended up a 40-year-old man and a 23-year-old woman living in the same apartment, sharing common spaces, and they didn't know each other. We've now learned that Grant had a violent criminal past. It's unclear if the victim in this case knew that.
The allegations in this case allege he stabbed his female roommate 28 times, killing her over some disagreement over his cat.
A situation the magistrate referred to as brutal. 23-year-old Elizabeth O'Dunsey found by police stabbed to death on April 26th in the kitchen she shared with her roommate Chester Grant, police say. Notice the bandages on Grant's neck in his mugshot. During the welfare check, they also found Grant in his bedroom with several stab wounds that investigators believe could have been self-inflicted. Both were said to be students. She was set to graduate from Texas Women's University with a nursing degree last Sunday, and he was a student at Fordham University, according to a court hearing. People who also live in this off-campus student housing say the police were out there the previous night for a fight between the two. Houston police confirm they've been called out multiple times.
He has multiple arrests and convictions out of Washington for violence, including domestic violence, violating protective order. The most recent is from September 6th of 2023.
The two shared an apartment unit at a building rented by For a Place to Live, where rooms are rented out individually and roommates are randomly paired, according to the company's website. The company notes online that background checks are done, and if they learn something of concern, they ask that person to move into a single unit where they would not share space with someone else. Grant was allowed to live with Odunsi. We reached out to the company to find out why his criminal past didn't raise a red flag, but they did not return our call. In downtown, Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
May Elizabeth Odunsi rest in peace. Thank you for taking the time to listen to Elizabeth's story. I appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on my next video.